fast on his steed, and threw her the golden apple. Then her mother flew into a passion, gave her a box on the ear, and cried out, "Does not even that prince please you, you fool?" The princess in her fright exclaimed, "That is the crab himself." Her mother was still more angry because she had not been told sooner, ran into her daughter's room where the crab's shell was still lying, took it up and threw it into the fire. Then the poor princess cried bitterly, but it was of no use. Her husband did not come back. Now we must leave the princess, and turn to the other persons in the story. One day an old man went to a stream to dip in a crust of bread which he was going to eat, when a dog came out of the water, snatched the bread from his hand, and ran away. The old man ran after him, but the dog reached a door, pushed it open, and ran in, the old man following him. He did not overtake the dog, but found himself above a staircase, which he descended. Then he saw before him a stately palace, and entering, he found in a large hall a table set for 12 persons. He hid himself in the hall behind a great picture, that he might see what would happen. At noon he heard a great noise, so that he trembled with fear. When he took courage to look out from behind the picture, he saw 12 eagles flying in. At this sight his fear became still greater. The eagles flew to the basin of a fountain that was there and bathed themselves, when suddenly they were changed into 12 handsome youths. Now they seated themselves at the table, and one of them took up a goblet filled with wine, and said, "A health to my father," and another said, "A health to my mother," and so the healths went round. Then one of them said, "A health to my dearest lady, long may she live and well, but a curse on the cruel mother who burned my golden shell." And so saying, he wept bitterly. Then the youths rose from the table, went back to the great stone fountain, turned themselves into eagles again, and flew away. Then the old man went away too, returned to the light of day, and went home. Soon after he heard that the princess was ill, and that the only thing that did her good was having stories told to her. He therefore went to the royal castle, obtained an audience of the princess, and told her about the strange things he had seen in the underground palace. No sooner had he finished than the princess asked him whether he could find the way to that palace. "Yes, certainly," he answered. And now she desired him to guide her thither at once. The old man did so, and when they came to the palace, he hid her behind the great picture, and advised her to keep quite still, and he placed himself behind the picture also. Presently the eagles came flying in, and changed themselves into young men, and in a moment the princess recognized her husband among them all, and tried to come out of her hiding place, but the old man held her back. The youths seated themselves at the table, and now the prince said again, while he took up the cup of wine, "A health to my dearest lady, long may she live and well, but a curse on the cruel mother who burned my golden shell." Then the princess could restrain herself no longer, but ran forward and threw her arms around her husband, and immediately he knew her again, and said, "Do you remember how I told you that day that you would betray me? Now you see that I spoke the truth, but all that evil time is past. Now listen to me. I must still remain enchanted for 3 months. Will you stay here with me till that time is over?" So the Princess stayed with him, and said to the old man, "Go back to the castle and tell my parents that I am staying here." Her parents were very much vexed when the old man came back and told them this. But as soon as the 3 months of the Prince's enchantment were over, he ceased to be an eagle, and became once more a man, and they returned home together. And then they lived happily, and we who hear the story are happier still. End of The Golden Crab.